I feel
It's
we got
okay.
And secondly, to motivate them to practice, because nowadays I don't know why children don't want to practice. Because without practice, there is hardly anything in maths. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Geeta Jain from St. Paul's School. I'm teaching classes from 6th to ninth, and as such, I'm not facing any serious problem. But that one particular chapter in class 9, Euclid geometry, I myself find it so boring that I don't know how to teach them. And why are we teaching it is a big question mark for me only. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Irina, and I come from Modern School Vasant Vihar, and I teach classes 11th and 12th, and I haven't yet faced any problems.
Very good afternoon to everyone. I'm from DAV Public School, Haley Mandi. I'm teaching the classes 7th and 8th, and I find the problem in teaching algebra. As it is a very abstract concept, students often ask that why a plus b whole square sometimes written as a square plus b square plus 2ab, sometimes it is used as a plus b into a plus b. Children have got so confused regarding this concept. So it is difficult for teaching.
Hello everyone, I am Suman Kapoor from same school. I am taking primary section, but I am lab in charge also. One teacher asked me one question: how could we correlate 2D figures with 3D? When we gave the examples of 2D figures, we don't give the exact example of 2D in real life situations. And one more my problem is when we introduce fractions, how could we add or subtract? Same LCM is there, and in decimals also. Okay, thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Talvinder from CCA School Gurgaon, and I'm teaching primary classes, and I don't find any major problem. Only some minors, like already discussed, some careless mistakes they are making, or understanding of statement sums. And after putting lots of efforts, when we see asset results, then we feel that there is something lagging in our studies. That's.
A very good afternoon. I'm Saryu Dahiya from Aravali, the Shriram School Aravali, Gurgaon. I'm teaching from class 6 to 9th. As such, I'm not facing any problem, but with time, I have realized that a child of particular grade faces a problem in certain things, like class 6 child normally faces problem in integers and introduction of algebra. So it's just a matter of time and practice that we have to give it to the child. That is what I think. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I am Nivedita Sharma from Queen Mary's, Mayur Vihar. As such, even me, I'm not facing any such problem. The only little bit is in visualization.
Good afternoon. This is Rupashri Banerjee from NK Bagrodia, Dwarka. The problem which I'm facing is the ACID gives the papers and they gives a result in, that a particular child lacks in this particular areas. The problem is that how to clarify that child's problem to come down to another standard low, one standard low. Again, it's a time problem. Here we are facing a problem. We are there to clear it out, but the time strength is there, so it's a problem.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm from APJ School, Faridabad, Mrs. Vasujaya. I've been teaching for the past 33 years and almost all the classes. For me, teaching maths is a real fun. I hardly face any difficulty. Till date, I have not faced any difficulty except for one thing, and that is children these days say no to learning the tables. As far as understanding part is concerned, they understand very well. Practice is the second thing where they are lacking. If these two things are amended somehow or the others, then the generation these days is very fast, very good, and very, very intelligent. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all of you. I am Mrs. Shalini Bindra from APJ School, Faridabad, and I am teaching class 5 mathematics, and I don't face any problem with them. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Swagata Mukherjee from Birla Vidya Niketan. I am teaching class 4 and 5. The problems, as Anupriya mentioned, that when we are teaching fraction, first we do addition, then subtraction. There we are telling each and every time you have to take LCM and then add and all this. And then next when we are doing multiplication, then we are just telling them multiply. So very conveniently when after doing multiplication, they do addition subtraction problem also doing the multiplication of numerator and denominators. So this is one problem. Another problem, I don't know whether you face in your school or not. Like in our school, the children, class 4, 5 children, they are going to abacus. There is a sort of this thing abacus, and they do all kinds of calculation in their brain. So they stop showing the working. Where it is mentioned, we tell them repeatedly that show the working, but they are not showing any working, and they are getting like marks are deducted without any reason. So due to abacus is positive plus point or negative point, I don't know, but they are now reluctant to show the working. That is the problem. Thank you.
Hello, myself Kanika Joshi from Birla Vidya Niketan. I'm taking classes 3, 4 and 5. As ma'am has discussed, I'm also facing these type of problem. Rather, one problem with class 3 is again the same identification of word problem. They hardly understand where to add or subtract.
Good afternoon, I'm from CGM Delhi, and I found that our students have a slight time management problem. They just feel that, you know, the paper is long, or they look at things from long, short, difficult, not so difficult.
Okay, am I audible? No, I don't think it's on. Hello, hello.
I'll just check it.
Hello? Yeah. I can use this. So, am I audible there in the behind? Yeah. I think we all have pointed few main problems here, and a lot of time this thing has come up that children have not conceptually understood something. So in this presentation today, we will share our experiences, our learnings, and see how we can make sure that children understand maths. Just a brief background about who are present here. Educational initiatives was started by IMA and IIT graduates who have already started their school and a teacher training center. Then the assessments, they started with assessing. Some teacher here mentioned that children do maths, they find it easy, but when it comes to testing, they somehow fail. So, and we know that assessment is a very crucial part of understanding whether children have understood or not. So, let's go to next slide. The agenda today would be based on this assessment items. We see what are the common misconceptions that students have. I'll go in deep what misconceptions mean. Then how do these misconceptions arise? What can we do so that students do not form these misconceptions? And then we'll try that exercise ourselves as a learning tool. We'll see the case studies of students based on the learning tool. Let's go. Okay, so what are misconceptions? Are any wrong answer, any silly mistake, are they misconceptions? So, what are misconceptions? Can we have a mic? Okay. I can take it.
Yeah, I think when we define misconceptions, we mean that some concepts either overgeneralized into different contexts where they're not applicable, or somewhere one kind of learning which is like true for one context, children just generalize and sort of see that, okay, this must have been happening in this sum also, and let me do this way. And it seems correct to them. So that is a misconception. This, I'm just saying according to my experience. Must be some other experience not on.
Yeah, so when children, like ma'am mentioned, that when they see two fractions, at one point they're supposed to multiply the numerator with numerator, denominator with denominator, and somewhere else they have to find an LCM. So this is bound to create a misconception. They don't know why or when I have to take an LCM versus I have to just operate with numerators and denominators. So a misconception is something which is coming out from what is already present in students' mind. It's not a common mistake. It's not just a silly mistake. So let's go ahead. Can someone read this question?
Which of the shapes is or are 1 by 3?
These lights, these series of light can be switched off. Yeah.
So the question is, which of the shapes is or are 1/3 shaded? And
so what is the right answer here? Not shape 1? Okay, and why not? Right. So this question was asked in class 5. What percentage of students do we think will get the correct answer here? Correct answer. We'll get it correct. Okay, can I ask in which class are the students introduced this topic? 3 or 4. So if they are introduced to represent fraction by the area model in class 3 or 4, that is 1 or 2 class before they are tested, still we are expecting by class 5 not even 50% would be able to answer this.
Even if they see area as a different topic, I think the main problem is that they don't understand that fraction is about equal parts and then taking one part out of it or 2 parts out of it.
Yeah, so nobody says 50% will get it right. %33. Okay, let's see the data. Yeah, so actually 23% got it right, and more than 60% of students think that shape 1 represents 1 by 3. And we are okay with it because most of us felt that the children are not expected to know this. Okay. The sample N was around 26,000. So most of us are aware of this fact that our students, after 1 or 2 years of being taught something, they still don't have their concepts clear. They don't know how to represent fractions by the basic model. And this model will be used later on to compare fractions and then to add fractions. So we know that they won't be able to do that as well. Fine. Let's go to the next example. Okay, this is an IRC curve. Such analysis help us to differentiate between the different ability kids. Most of you mentioned that different students, like more intelligent students or weaker ability students, have different problems. In this curve, if you see this line, this one, it represents option D, which was the misconception. And you can see that those who have scored between 20 to 30 marks out of total paper, which is actually above average, more than 60% of them have opted for option D. This means that students of class 5 in the entire country who are in the above average ability group have this misconception. Okay, let's go to the next example. Yeah, so let's see this video on fractions and see deeper why students have this misconception. This video was made as a part of our learning series. We wanted to understand. First, we got aware that students have this misconception. Then the second step was to ask students what they think, why they think that only shaded, that irrespective of equal and unequal parts, you can represent fraction. Why is it that students think like that? So to understand that better, we had this series on student misconceptions. And this video was made as a part of that. Okay, from the group, I will ask, what do you think we can do two things while teaching fraction so that students don't have this misconception? Any two things? Right. So here one thing which we can do is help student work with concrete examples. So if a chocolate has to be divided among 4 friends, then by intuitively they will divide it in equal parts. They won't agree that I will get more, or the other kid can get a bigger part. That is one. What could be the second thing which we can do while teaching area model? Ma'am, there. Right. Okay, so paper folding. Hands-on example. So what do our textbooks usually have is that given a whole, the parts are already divided. And the kids are usually just to color 1 part, 2 part. That's not helpful. The idea is for them to divide the whole themselves as well, and not just in straight lines, by as many ways as you can. So, okay, we'll try to see the video later when the sound is not a problem. This is the second example. Many of us here mentioned that visualization is a problem. This is a very basic question on angles. Angles is introduced in which class? In most of the 5, 4, right? Okay, by class 5. This question was asked in class 6. Which angle has the greatest degree measure? Ma'am here says everyone will answer. Everyone, that is 100%. Any other point of view? D? Okay, one voice. How many? Okay, how many of us say A? Will anyone answer A? B? Around 80%? 100%? Yeah. How many will? Okay. C? Will any student opt for C? Okay. So around what percent? What percent of student population will opt for C? 40%? No, not 40. No, 20%. Yeah? More than that. Okay, let's say 40%. And D? A few. Very few. Okay, let's see the data. So 45% of students are opting for C. And only 40% of students have got the right answer. Why have they opted for C? Yeah, because it looks biggest among all these options. Because of the size. So what does this